Hello and welcome to the best of Coach RIX winners. I'm your host, Ricky Tucker, better known as Coach RIX. That's right, respect, integrity, and excellence. We'd like to thank you for joining us today, and I would love to tell you that our guest today is really a treat. He exemplifies what Coach RIX winners represents, because our focus really is on helping athletes to transition from sports to the business world. And our guest is Mr. Greg Nelson. Welcome to the show, Mr. Nelson.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks for inviting me here.
Glad to have you. It has been really incredible. I've got an opportunity to know you as a man, as a business professional, and also as a person that's really been willing to help and to reach out and give back to the community. I want to first of all publicly thank you for being willing to volunteer to go out to talk with a group of high school football players. And I do want to remind you too that that was the first big game that they won, and by far the first game that they won. It just happened to have been homecoming. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Nelson played in the NFL, and he has done a perfect job of transitioning from the sport and transitioning and moving all of those skills that he had as an athlete to the business world. So Mr. Nelson, so much about me and all of this chitter chatter. We need to hear from you. So let's hear from you. Tell us some things about you.
Well, I was born and raised in Memphis, Tennessee. Grew up with a large family, 12th child out of 15.
Wow.
Large family. Grew up here. Father was teaching me. Parents taught me about giving back and becoming a leader in this community, and have an opportunity to do that now.
Wow. And, you know, it is really important for the young people to hear that at an early age, because that's the one thing that we really tend to miss sometimes, particularly as we're growing up. And nowadays, everybody's so focused on number one and self, but it's really awesome. And so where'd you go to high school here?
Went to Whitehaven 2 years. My 10th and 11th grade, I graduated from Fairleigh High.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. Right. So tell us a little bit more about that career, because how long have you been actually playing football? How long were you playing ball before you went to the pros?
Oh, I started actually flag football all the way up to junior high. Wow. From junior high to high school, from high school to college, and to the pros.
Wow. Now, which college did you attend?
Well, I went to Lane, then I went to Jackson State.
Wow. Okay. And what position?
Defensive back, outside linebacker.
Defensive back. Man, there probably are some guys, hopefully there are some folks that are looking at the show going, oh man, I remember that guy, and I don't think I want to see him again. I don't want to see him again.
Yeah, I was in a lot better shape back then.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's all right. I think the folks that are looking at the show can tell.
That's the old version of me right here.
Oh, listen, but they can look at you and tell that you haven't lost that look and that physique. As a matter of fact, I was talking with a gentleman and said, you know, as long as the guys keep the neck, you know that they're still in pretty good shape. He said when they lose the neck, then you know that they're falling off track.
Well, eating keeps the neck kind of thick, you know, constantly.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk about some of the things, some of the values you learned as a football player, as the member of a team. What are some of those values that you learned?
Well, team is family. Your teammates are your family. Your business associates are your family. So I learned early on that hard work, teamwork brings success, and you can only win through teamwork.
Okay. What advice would you give young people that may be interested in sports, or may be interested in even thinking about working on team projects? Because quite honestly, we want to focus on how you transfer that skill from being an athlete out to the real world.
Well, the advice I would give them is do your homework. Learn something about what you want to do before you get involved with it. And then you put your best foot forward, and success will come behind it. Hard work.
Okay. One of the focuses that we have with Coach Rick's winners is something that we call bringing your A game. And of course, in sports, you need to bring your A game every day or go home. The other component that we focus on is Plan B and then C. We refer to it as the ABCs because we really want young people and, quite honestly, seasoned people alike to understand that there are some components to life that are really essential to success. And with our Bring Your A game, we focus on our young people, and we want to start with them as early as possible. We focus on attitude, academic, anchors, associations, because we want them to know that it takes all of that in order to be able to transfer from being a regular run-of-the-mill citizen, if you will, to being an athlete. But then it takes that same thing to transfer back from being an athlete to going into business. On the Plan B or the transition side, what is it about sports that you participated in that really helped you to transition or to move into being an effective and a successful businessman?
Well, in sports, you learn how to put in hard work. You learn how to do a method. You develop a routine from the ground up, from the beginning to the end. In business, you have to create a foundation and a method, and sports gives you the winning attitude and the process and the hard work and the teamwork necessary to become successful in anything, business or any endeavor that you get involved with. That's the number one thing with sports. It teaches you about hard work.
Now, hard work that's one of those words that really is relative, because quite honestly, you may be willing to run 10 miles a day, and I might say, well, I'll tell you what, Mr. Nelson, you go ahead and run your 10 and I'll catch up with you, and I'm just going to do 2. I know that it is, there's a quote that our nephew says that hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. How true is that?
That's true. There've been many days when I was playing football that really didn't want to do all that strenuous exercise. Didn't want to do 3 a days. I really didn't want to do it. But sometimes when you do things that you really don't want to do, it takes you to another level. It creates a foundation that you're going to need later on in life. And basically, when you speak of running 10 miles, I train so when I have to compete, my training gave me the edge on a person that didn't train as hard. So I that slept late, when he came to the field, he paid for it.
Wow. Tell me about your happiest moment, and then we're going to back up, and then we're going to talk a little bit more and dig a little bit deeper about your career, and to just kind of tell us a little bit, because we've been holding back from sharing with them a little bit more. Tell us about your happiest moment in your career.
Football or business?
Let's talk about football first.
Happiest moment I ever had was just getting the opportunity.
Yeah.
The opportunity. I've always dreamed of playing pro football, and just to get the opportunity, I mean, it was phenomenal to run down Texas Stadium field and walk on the turf and smell the grass around and look into your opponent's eyes, and it was just phenomenal. That's the greatest thing that ever happened to me, was the opportunity.
Wow. Man, and you painted just an incredible picture. We've had a number of folks on and we've talked about the game, but you just really, I mean, you put me there in the moment. So that really is awesome. And I do appreciate you asking about, now, are you talking about happiest moment in sports, or are you talking about the happiest moment in business? Before we visit the business part of it, share with the audience the team or teams that you've played for, so that they can at least have an idea.
Well, Dallas Cowboys, Minnesota Vikings.
Okay. Wow, you went from cold country to warm country.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Well, cold, Dallas cold in the wintertime. Minnesota is a deep freezer, even in the summer.
Absolutely.
So it gets colder and colder.
Wow.
So.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
So what kind of advice, when you talked about just having the opportunity to experience that, to experience the roar of the crowd, looking at your opponent, just hearing the people cheer for you, and knowing that you are, and man, you are a part of America's team, huh?
Dallas Cowboys, the greatest football team.
Now, all of you guys hear that out there.
In the world.
Absolutely. You know, I have my wife and I call him our #1 business son, Jamian, and he's a diehard Dallas fan. My dad has been a diehard Dallas fan forever. So, well, folks, I guess you've got it. And if you have somebody else that is from another team, you might get them to give us a call and talk to just really see if they can challenge Mr. Nelson. But tell us a bit about you actually playing, and you told us what role that you play. Just tell us a little bit about the experience.
Well, it's a phenomenal experience when you think about a kid coming out of a large family of 15. I'm the 12th child out of 15, getting the opportunity to go to college and just getting the opportunity to have an opportunity to play professional football was phenomenal. The relationships I built with friends that I played with, and the competitiveness of playing on that level. It's unfortunate part I didn't stay healthy.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't understand the brutal that football takes on your body.
Absolutely.
It's very, very competitive sport, and a lot of people don't stay healthy.
Absolutely.
I wish that I would have a longer career.
Yeah.
I had some knee problems, and other than that, I would have played much longer.
Wow. And that's why Coach RIX winners exist, because we realize that all of that talent, all those skills, even if you can't perform, you can at least share those and transfer those into the lives of someone who's a little bit younger and healthier maybe. And so that is why we really are focusing on helping our young athletes. Ladies and gentlemen, I do want you to know that we are meeting with Mr. Greg Nelson, former NFL player, now businessman. And Mr. Nelson, I took your number down earlier, and I wanted to make sure that everybody got it, because we're getting ready to really talk about community initiatives that you are doing, and I don't want to run out of time before we get an opportunity to do that. So ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Greg Nelson has a foundation. He's going to be doing a number of things to really help to support our young athletes and their family members, and he can be reached at area code 901-691-6323. That's Mr. Greg Nelson, 691-6323, and that's area code